Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're delving into a novel that gives a powerful, haunting voice to the silent suffering of one of history's most traumatic events, the 1947 Partition of India.
So, let's start with a really powerful question. It's one that sits right at the heart of Amrita Pritam's masterpiece, Pinjar. The book basically forces us to confront this question as it unravels the tragedy of an entire nation through the eyes of one unforgettable character.
To really get this story, you first have to wrap your head around the sheer scale of the historical trauma it was born from. We're talking about 1947, when British India was split into India and Pakistan. This uprooted an estimated 1.5 crore, that's 15 million people. It was one of the largest and most violent mass migrations in all of human history. Just unimaginable chaos, where lines on a map shattered millions of lives.
This line is, well, it's just chilling, and it captures a brutal truth of the partition. See, the violence wasn't just political, it was deeply, profoundly gendered. In all that chaos, women's bodies became these territories to be conquered, symbols of a community's honor to be captured and dishonored, a canvas for men to carve their rage on.
So right in the middle of all this chaos and suffering, one book stands out as the definitive literary testament to the experience of women, and that's Pinjar, which translates to The Skeleton, written by the celebrated Punjabi author Amrita Pritam. We have a ton of resources to explore, and we'll touch on that a bit later. For now, let's dive right into the core ideas of this incredible book.
All right, so the novel centers on a young Hindu girl named Puro. Her life is good, she's happy, carefree, engaged to be married, her whole future is basically mapped out. But then, in an instant, that entire life is just shattered. She's abducted by a Muslim man, Rashid, as an act of revenge for some old family feud that had absolutely nothing to do with her.
Now, when Puro manages to escape and get back home, you'd think the worst is over. But she faces a second, profound act of violence. Her own parents, terrified of what society will think, reject her. They tell her she's now polluted, that there's no place for her with them. This forces her right back into a life with her abductor. And honestly, this betrayal is maybe even more devastating than the abduction itself. It's a total erasure of her identity by the very people who gave it to her.
So her identity is just violently fractured. The person she was, Puro, a Hindu, a daughter, a fiancé, is forcibly replaced. She's given a new name, Hamida, a new religion, a new role as Rashid's wife. She goes from a life defined by belonging to one of being an outcast, creating what the book powerfully calls a double life.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of her internal struggle, doesn't it? She's trapped in this in-between space, not fully belonging to either world. She feels like just a skeleton, a body that's been stripped of its name, its faith, its entire sense of self. It's a profound kind of dehumanization where the very essence of who she is has just been hollowed out.
Puro's story builds into one of the novel's most devastating themes, this idea of how women's bodies became literal battlegrounds for communal honor during the partition. And look, this wasn't a unique thing in history, but the sheer scale of it during this time was just staggering. The thinking was that abducting or violating a woman was a way to shame her entire family, her religion, her community. And as you're learning these new frameworks, remember that applying them is key. If you want to dive deeper into practical skills, check out the courses, videos, and in-depth blogs on epcland.com. Now, let's get back to the next key concept. This twisted logic turned women into targets, subjecting them to this horrifying list of atrocities by men from rival communities. They were reduced to symbols, their individual humanity just erased in a brutal game of communal power and revenge. This was systemic violence, used as a tool to terrorize and control whole populations.
But, and this is a huge but, here's where the story takes a remarkable turn. Because this is not just a tale of victimhood. It is a profound story of transformation and incredible resilience.
So over time, Puro, who is now Amida, starts to transcend her personal trauma. She finds a new purpose by helping other abducted women just like her. In one incredibly powerful moment, she even rescues Lajo, the wife of her own brother, the same brother who stood by and watched as their parents cast her out. She channels her pain into this fierce empathy for others, bridging the very divides that destroyed her own life. And this brings us to the deepest insight of the novel, a meaning that's hidden right in its title, Pinjar. In Punjabi, the word has this potent, dual meaning that really unlocks the book's entire philosophy. So on one level, Puro feels her body is a pinjar,
a cage, trapping her in a life she never chose. But it's also a skeleton, something stripped of all the flesh of her original identity, her faith, her family. She has been reduced to her most basic, bare-bones form.
Yet, and here's the powerful part, it is this very state of being reduced to a skeleton, an entity without a fixed religious or communal label, that actually allows her spirit to break free. She rises above the cages of religion, community, and nation to act with pure, radical humanity. Because she has lost everything, she is no longer bound by anything, and she finds a profound kind of freedom in that loss.
So what's the crucial point we should take away from this powerful novel? Why does Pinjar still matter so much?
Well, Pinjar does more than just tell a story. It personalizes a massive historical trauma, showing us the real human cost behind the huge numbers. It exposes the brutal way women are objectified in conflict, and it highlights the deep crisis of identity that comes with displacement. But above all, it's a story of profound resilience and the ability of the human spirit to find meaning even in the deepest, darkest suffering.
It's a reminder that even when society tries to lock the body in a cage of identity and honor, the human spirit has this immense capacity for love, forgiveness, and transcendence. It suggests that maybe our true identity isn't what's given to us by family or nation, but what we forge ourselves through our own actions and our own empathy.
We would love to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments below, what do you think is the most powerful moment of resilience in Puro's journey?
If you found this summary valuable, please give this video a like, share it with a friend who could use it, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next video.